Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. Thank you to the new members. Today we might go shopping on AquaBid a little bit, look at some other things. I've got some questions I wrote down. If you don't know already, if you get here early, normally between the hour, well, not between because it's not only going to make sense to people on the West Coast, but typically between the hour before, I'm answering questions and gathering some stuff to talk about too. So I found a couple good questions that I want to talk about. I've covered them in videos before, but they get lost. Over 1,000 videos. New people are joining. Maybe they haven't watched them all. So I didn't write down who asked the question, so my apologies for that. But the first question I've got today is, how long do we quarantine our fish at our store? This kind of came up two parts. One person asked us in the chat today, and another person asked us when they watched Sunday's video with Dean in it, because we didn't quarantine his fish. So it depends on the source. It used to be way back at the beginning, we would always quarantine for at least 7 days on absolutely everything. And over time, we learned what vendors we could trust, which ones we couldn't, where had more risk, where it didn't have more risk. And so I wanted to cover it a little bit better. Typically, if they're importing something from overseas, it's always at least 7 days. It's a harder journey, there are bigger numbers, a lot of things can go wrong, cross-contamination, all that kind of stuff, right? Pretty hard journey, so we want to take extra time. All right, and then there's like common vendors we use, so maybe like Aquahuna and other places where there's still a wholesaler, there's still cross-contamination there and all that kind of stuff. That typically is 1 week. Now there are some outliers. Now on some of the sources, maybe when we buy zebra plecos or other fancy plecos, typically those don't share the same water as like a lot of the other stuff because there's so much money. So if they have a tank with 50 zebra plecos, bare minimum wholesale, that's $5,000. They're doing extra water changes every day. They're feeding very high-end food. They're watching them like a hawk. So when those come into the store, typically they'll go straight onto the sales floor with meds, but not be quarantined. Now, if someone was to walk right into the store and say, I'd like to buy those, we go, well, they literally just came in. At least let them get acclimated. Let them have some meds through them. You can purchase them today and come pick them up in a few days, right? So that might be some of the extreme cases there. If it is fish from my own house or fish room here, or Dean's fish room, we both quarantine everything that comes into our fish rooms with meds for a long time, and then we're very hands-on with the fish. So when they eventually do come into the Aquarium Co-op, they've gone through my eyes or Dean's eyes and a vigorous, basically quarantine period. Like the fish that I brought back from Vienna, yeah, they came into my fish room and I treated them, and now we've been breeding them for over a year, and that tub with those fish, I've never seen another fish since then. It doesn't mean that something couldn't go wrong, but whenever you're quarantining stuff, do realize that if you do actually have what you believe to be very healthy fish, putting more and more meds through them can cause some damage on kidneys and stuff like that. Now there's some fish that are prone to parasites, like maybe puffers, right? Over time they're eating live food, maybe crabs and crayfish, maybe some frozen stuff that might sneak through, and you might have to deworm them a few extra times over their lifetime. But we don't want to just willy-nilly, like if I know fish have been great in my own personal care for a year and I bring them to the store and then nuke them with more meds, that doesn't make it more robust. That actually weakens its immune system a little bit, where when it's unknown, then we typically do use meds. So on average, a week or more. That doesn't mean that some things don't happen differently, being that if it was Dean or I, even if it's another employee, typically we quarantine just because they don't have the same quarantine practices we do at the store like they would at home. So that's what we do. And it works really well for us over the last 7 years or so. I've never actually had a sick fish come in from Dean at all. I would wager, just because I've brought in a lot more fish than Dean, that something I've brought in has gotten sick from time to time. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, but I'm sure it's happened. In fact, we used to quarantine fish in my own fish room. You guys, if you watch the old videos, you'd see we'd import. We'd have, 75-gallon tanks, 40-gallon tanks filled with lots of tetras. They'd be there for months and months and months. Then they go to the store. We wouldn't then, by the time I own a fish and I think it's good enough to go to the store, it's already been through quarantine. So that's where we will bypass that. But anytime we don't know the history, we give it extra leeway so we can gain some knowledge. Is Aquarium Co-op sustainable, someone asks? That's a good question. We actually have that into to-do list for our website developers into showing you the ways we are sustainable. So some things, a lot of packaging, we try to make sure it's recyclable. One of the new things we're bringing on, because we're dealing a lot more in business in higher volumes, we have a lot of stuff that's getting pallet wrapped. And if you've ever dealt with that, that's more like saran wrap. You saran wrap the whole pallet. Well, all the saran wrap going on from now on and buying, we only ever bought saran wrap stuff once. But everything going forward is going to be this new, well, I won't say new, it's probably been out for a long time, but new to us, this green pallet wrap that 60% of it within a year of being in sunlight and oxygen, if it was to go to a landfill, will be broken down into easily digestible materials. Now, that's not 100%, but so far I haven't found something with a higher biodegradable rate that will also do its job. So we're always looking to do those types of things. We don't buy, to the best of our knowledge, plants from the wild. We want them all to be cultured. We hope that people are paying sustainable wages and that kind of stuff. And we do site visits, not on everything, obviously, but like I know we'll be visiting one of our plant vendors this month. We visited some others last year, and we generally try to see what's going on. It's not uncommon for us to buy the whole crew lunches and that kind of stuff and just let them know that we're Aquarium Co-op, we're here to support you, what can we do to help? But I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that falls through the cracks that we don't know is not sustainable, right? There's always maybe some wild-caught fish. Now, a lot of wild-caught fish are very sustainable, like cardinal tetras and that kind of stuff, but you never know exactly, the person who caught it versus the person you buy it from. Even if I bought straight from Peru, there might be 3 or 4 people in between there. Maybe one of them is doing something not sustainable, right? But to the best of our knowledge, we operate on this stuff is sustainable. We look into it as much as a retailer can. And we try to, if we learn about something that's not sustainable, we go, well, how do we make this better? How do we, make this product last longer? How do we improve packaging? How do we just do anything we can that's reasonable, right? Like, you could just stop selling stuff. You could, charge twice as much money and no one buys it. But we also have to look at it through the lens of like, we need to ensure that we make a product people still buy. So we do what we can to do that. So sustainability, very important. It's in my own fabric of my business. There's a lot of times I force us to make decisions that will be quite a bit more work and quite a bit more challenging, but it comes down to, does it satisfy the sustainability aspect of it? And that's important to me because I like to be able to say we're sustainable to everything I'm aware of. When I become aware of something, then I have to investigate it, I look into it, and we go from there. And usually we're on the right side of things, but you never know. All right. Thank you to Christian for becoming a member, and Liko and Kaylin and Crochetin' Fish. Ooh, I hope you can crochet fish. Sean from, as I learned, from South Africa. Dilomos, Mr. Moon, and Joel G for Super Chat. Thank you guys very much. We were having a cool conversation earlier today, by the way, in the chat. Someone from Saudi Arabia was talking about their fish tank, or at least the hobby, and they're having troubles even finding fish tanks to buy. And I'm always very intrigued because when I travel the world, you go to some countries, like when I go to Peru, fish stores don't really exist, and so, but you have people that are still very passionate about the hobby and interested in it, but now getting an aquarium is like me getting a Ferrari or something. It's like so hard to do, and when you do, you're going to be so happy. I don't want a Ferrari, but I'm just saying it's not something you just walk out and buy. So it was cool. I was asking him some questions like, well, what's it like over there? And like as far as fish stores go and that kind of stuff. And I'm always looking to hopefully connect with viewers and stuff like that. So if I'm ever in a country I've never been to before, you can show me like, here's the one aquarium shop. Here's the guy that owns a fish room. Here's this crazy native fish or whatever it's going to be. And I'm finding myself more and more fascinated by the international viewers and just some of the hardships you have in getting aquariums or stuff like that, and just seeing the reach, as you start a business in 2012 when we started Aquarium Co-op, I was never thinking, how will my content be portrayed in Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Israel, the UK, Europe? wasn't even on the radar. And now these are all things you think about, or I think about a little bit going, wow, so bizarre to me that it's become a worldwide thing. I mean, it's always been a worldwide hobby, but not necessarily with me in it. I was just a hobbyist at one point. So it's been very fun. All right. How do I stop tanks from smelling? One is 6-foot sand substrate and try to carbon filter. Is there anything else? Water changes. One of the biggest things that contributes to smell is actually the type of food. So I know, like, if you use New Life Spectrum's Thera A, it's got added garlic. If you feed that with hot watered aquariums, very often you'd walk in and be like, "Are we cooking garlic bread? Like, why does the house smell like an Italian restaurant?" And you can get certain smells from A.K.A.R.E foods, and in general, getting some tops in our tanks can help. If you got a really stinky aquarium, like, normally it doesn't smell like, what is that? Always check the rim of your tank. Some of the smelliest stuff you'll ever smell is a couple of pellets of food that get on the rim. You close the lid, and then the condensation, it rots, and it will smell terrible. All you got to do is get like a paper towel, kind of get that gunk off, get a little bit wet. And it'll still smell bad for a couple days, but then it goes away. And a lot of times, whenever I was doing service in aquariums, when oh my gosh, what is that? It would be rotten food. They just didn't realize a couple pellets, a little bit of flake, something there on the rim, became very foul. And it's an easy fix. So I always start there first when there's smell concerns. And that would be a plausible thing with carbon not doing anything, because it's not in the water. It actually could be on the lid or the rim. So I would check those out. Derek joining the team, thank you very much. And Stefan giving me $1. Well, thank you. Massivore stinks, definitely. A lot of the krill-based foods, very stinky, but very palatable for fish. They're attracted to it. So, all right, the next one I want to chime in on was changing water too much. We get this question all the time. Am I changing water too much? The best advice I have for you is probably. Like, I run every day, I'm working towards how do I change less water? Part of it is I'm lazy. I like to be lazy. And another part of it is, as the world is changing, there's more and more fires, more droughts. I'm going to be on a well soon. I want to preserve more water. But this is going in before that. And ever since I visited Charles Clapsaddle's farm, which you guys should check out that video if you haven't, he's a fish farm that only ever replaces water from evaporation and selling fish and not changing water. And he uses live plants to do that. And I learned about that probably 7-8 years ago, maybe more. And it's always been a dream of mine. How do I get to a point where I'm changing very little water? And I'm getting pretty close. And it started years ago with ponds outside, not doing water changes maybe once a year. Now I've got ponds that I haven't had a water change in a few years. And even in my fish room right now, most of the ponds haven't had a water change because they've been set up. And that's over a year now. When I test the water parameters, they're looking great. I have to replace a little bit of calcium. I have to still put some things in because my water doesn't have anything in it. Where my new place that we're going to has hard water. So I'm hoping to alleviate having to put crushed coral and wonder shells and equilibrium, those types of things into the water. Now, am I changing water too much? This gentleman, I believe, when I was reading the chat, he's changing water 50% twice a week. That, to me, I think is actually going to be a lot of stress on the fish. I try to do it a lot less, like I've explained. I would be figuring out, what can you do? Is it a little more plants? And I would maybe watch my video. Why do we change water? Do you have excess hormones in the water from fish breeding or fry raising up? Do you have excess nitrates from too much food? Can we feed a cleaner food? Could we feed less? Do we just have way too many fish? And that leads to like kind of the next question. A lot of people were asking, am I overstocked, right? And that again comes back to testing. So someone was asking, how do I raise up 60 bristlenose fry? What size tank? And I've done it as small as a 20 long. A lot of water changes, a lot of foods going in there. But nowadays, I would do it more in like 75 gallons, 40 gallons, 100 gallons. So I want to do less water changes because I know the fish actually do better the less stress I put on them. So that's where I focus. And are you overstocked? Test the water. If you're doing whatever it is, let's say you're doing a weekly water change, a monthly water change, whatever it is, your normal schedule that you adhere to and that you're comfortable with. Some people love to do water changes. When I had one aquarium, water change every 3 days. Anything I could do to get my hands wet, right? But as you've been in the hobby longer, maybe you're looking to not do that. But if your nitrates are coming back kind of 40 parts per million or under, you're probably not overstocked. Now, if you're adding in increments, so maybe you had 50 fish, you add 5 fish, a 10% increase. That's pretty normal. But if you have 50 fish and you add 30 fish, you go to 80, you might jump up quite a bit and now realize you have quite a problem. So that, that could be problematic. So go and, think of it, it's a loose term, very loose term here. 10% is at 10 inches, so if you have a 10-inch Oscar, try to add 1 inch of fish, right? If you have 100 fish, try to add no more than 10 at a time if you're on the fence. But if you know you've got tons of room, you don't have to abide by that rule. But slow and steady will make sure you don't go from a situation where you're changing water once a month to now you got to do it twice a week because you gambled too much, right? And I think over time you gain some knowledge and maybe your plant's growing a little more and you learn what your capabilities are and it becomes easier. It's usually new aquarists that want to know what's the limit. And when you have more tanks too, you can go, oh, I went too overboard. Well, okay, I can actually put some in over in this tank and mitigate some of that. This tank's running light, this one's running heavy. Great, we'll split them up. Just want to give a shout out to MD Fish Tanks. If you guys haven't seen him, I believe he's based in the UK. I'm 99% sure that's true. He's an aquascaper, built a new fish room, a new studio and all of that. Puts out some pretty fun content. You guys might want to check that out. Not a brand ambassador of ours or anything, but seems like a cool dude. Never met him in person yet. But he's hanging out in the chat, and he says he does 10 to 20% a month, to be honest, apart from new setups. So yeah, that's, someone with a lot of tanks. Usually the more tanks you add on, the less often you're doing water changes just because it's a time thing. And I also think the longer in the hobby you are, the more you'll realize, oh, there's quite a bit of range, even though the internet or Reddit or Facebook or whatever is going to tell you, you can't have nitrates, that'll kill everything. You'll learn like, oh, well, nitrates, plants need those, and oh, well, there was that time when I had a baby, and then, I broke my arm, and nitrates ran at 100, and I made more guppies than I ever had before. What's that about? You'll have these things that go contrary to the internet. So, by the way, if you don't want to hang out on Reddit or Facebook, you could check out our forum. Let's see if I can make the magic happen. The magic. Oh, man. I love my hair. I got a haircut. You can see right here. That's from wearing headphones all day, being at meetings. Yeah. All right, so we're going to hop over to the website. And there we are with the power, the magic. And so if you go to the forum, it's just forum.aquariumcoop.com. This is a place where you can come and be friendly, discuss some in-depth topics that run over the span of weeks. So instead of, maybe Facebook or Reddit or anything where it's like, oh, it's over 24 hours old, no one will ever see it again. These are longer running themes, maybe journals and builds and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's not meant for everyone though. I'm going to tell you right now, don't be nasty to other people, be friendly, it's not meant, you're not going to get instant gratification there. No one answered in 2 hours. Like, yeah, people are having lives. This is a much slower format. But the good news is people like Dean hang out there. Not all my employees, but a lot of my employees hang out there. A lot of the members hang out there. A lot of people hang out. And you might come around, you be super active for a week. You might be gone for 2 weeks. You come back. It's real easy to jump back into the swing of things. So, but yeah, at this point, we've got over 1,000 topics and over 8,000 posts, which is not like I have other forums that we run, and they're way higher, but this is since the beginning here. And there's some little giveaways and stuff we do on there, and you get some insights into what's going on in the warehouse and the store. And that's a good point. If you're a local hobbyist, we do have the retail store. So we actually post our stock lists every week. So you can see here, you can see all the fish that came in, right? And then you can see some pictures if it's some specific stuff that you might not know what it is. There's Robert with a cell phone. Looks like we had some ranchus come in. We got some different bettas. Ooh, that looks like a bumblebee auto. And then pencil fish. And then we've got some albino cherry barbs, I would guess. I actually haven't read the stock list, but you know, a lot of people just like to see what even came in. And this, you can also cross-reference this sometimes to the unboxing videos. If you didn't quite catch a name or something like that, you can come in here. In fact, I'll give a to-do list for Jimmy. Let's start posting our unboxings when they match up with those weeks. Let's post it on there so that people can intermingle the two. All right. I saw in a video where you mentioned a care package giveaway per week for liking and subscribing. What's in the care package? Well, we don't have a defined list yet. So I think what we're giving away this week, I think, because it's not defined, is like all the stickers. Hold on, I'm in the wrong mode. There we go. We're giving away like all the stickers, a snapback hat, coffee mug, USB air pump, airline tubing, never clog air stone, maybe a couple other things. And the reason we're choosing these products, I'm choosing products that can ship worldwide. So like a fish food, I can't ship that to every country. It requires different customs and all that stuff. Can't ship plants, can't ship fertilizers. So I want this is an international giveaway so that anyone can win, you know, and it might cost us $150 to ship to Saudi Arabia or Guatemala or wherever it's going to go. But the goal is to actually include everyone who's watching and not just people in the United States. So, and we're doing that every Sunday. When will it end? I don't know. I foresee it going for a long time. All you have to do is make sure you're a subscriber to the channel, make sure you like the video, and that you leave a comment. If you do those three things, you're in the running. And when you win, we'll leave a comment there. You click on the link. It asks you to basically log in and confirm that that is your YouTube ID. And then it's going to ask you for your shipping address. And then going forward, we thought about this today. I didn't know it. We're going to ask for t-shirt sizes and stuff in case you want to send out t-shirts and other stuff, right? And so as this program evolves, usually things get better. If it turns out to be cheaper to send internationally, maybe we can send bigger packages. We also don't want to make it where, oh, you live in the UK, you got this. Oh, you live in the United States, you got this because it was cheaper. We want it to be fair to everyone. And we'll change it and we'll figure out what ships well, what doesn't ship well. Ooh, we included Aquarium Co-Op towel, and I know there's some other stuff too, but I can't remember it all. That was just done today. So each Sunday, leave a comment on those videos, like them, make sure you're a subscriber, and eventually you'll win. You know, it's an easy thing to do. A lot of you are already leaving comments anyway, so. All right. Good carpet plant ideas for a tank that's already established. It depends on your lighting. I have like the worst like hair in my nose. It's driving me nuts, by the way. Trying to eliminate it while being live for the next 2 hours. I would try dwarf chainsword is about the easiest one to grow. I don't know how big your tank is. If it's tall, that's great. If it's a nano tank, it's more of a mid-ground plant. But I do recommend dwarf chainsword. What else? Oh yeah, I forgot. We showed betas in the thumbnail. I wanted to show you guys. Someone had asked last week if we could shop on AquaBid or something like that. And I thought we could. We could do a little bit of shopping. So last Sunday's video was the master breeder Dean sharing what to breeding for profit. We release a video every Sunday. Real easy to see. You got a week to watch it, leave a comment, and then we draw the following Monday, the day I live stream. All right, so today we're going to go shopping. I'm not doing any shopping personally, but I wanted to show you what I look for. So here we've got AquaBid. You guys know that I've recommended this site for probably the last 5 years. Why do I recommend this? Because it's an international website. So, like a lot of live bear nerds like me, if we go to, let's say, wild type, live bears, so you see on, I gotta put this in front of me. Well, now let's keep doing it over here. I'm gonna look to the side. It's gonna look weird, but you can see flags here. So this means they're in the United States. But right here you see a world symbol. This person ships to the entire world, right? So they're in New Jersey, but technically that symbol means they'll ship worldwide. Now, usually you'll see some people with some cool, rare stuff. Like let's say where Aqua Food is from. He is from United Kingdom, right? So you could buy this fish and get it shipped in the UK, probably a lot of Europe actually. So that's why I recommend this site, is because if I was to say, hey, you buy here, a lot of you around the world can't buy from there. And so that's why I go there. So now I wanted to talk about bettas a little bit, because this is one of the cool ways to shop for bettas. So at the top here we have bettas, crown tails, deltas and super deltas, double tails, half moon, placots, veil tails, normal placots, and wild types. So you can just kind of click in and you can see that's not a huge category, but I always like, oh, $170 for 12 bettas, huh? We can look. This is in the United States. This looks like it's just a generic betta listing. I'm not a fan of those. I like the what you see is what you get type. Let's just go to, if I just click bettas. So if I just click betta, you can see here half moons are very popular and half moon placots are very popular right now. So we click into here and we can start going, oh, for 20 bucks, I could have this exact fish, right? So you get this exact fish. Now, what are the things to know? The things to know is this is coming from Thailand, which most of these bettas are going to come from Thailand, and you have to use a transshipper. So what does that mean? That means that a lot of times what they'll do is they're going to take all the sales that happened this month. So let's say they sell 50 bettas this month, right? At the end of the month, they'll then ship all of those to the United States, right? Or whatever country it needs to go to. But let's say it goes and it lands in Colorado and there's 50 bettas that go there. Each person had to chip in an extra $5 to get it from Thailand to America. So that's $150, covers some of that shipping, right? And they might be shipping some to some stores and some other stuff. And it says here you're going to have to pay the extra fees for an import tax, handling charge, local shipping fee. So that means you have to pay for the shipping from, let's say, Colorado to here in Washington, right? And that might be $30 or $35 plus the $5 plus an import fee, maybe another $10. So you might be looking at the buy it now price. Well, it doesn't have a buy it now price, but a $20 bid. You might be paying $60 or $70 for this betta, but you get this betta. And you can spend a whole night going, well, what about this betta? That literally might be the same one I clicked on. Hold on, let me click on a different one here. So then you click on this one. You look at this one, right? And there's tons to look, and there's different sellers, and you can, what's a Nemo Galaxy Rosetail? Like, this thing looks pretty sweet, right? But maybe that's not the one for you. You got to look all day long, all night long. You daydream and go, am I going to drop my, $70 on this one? And what you start learning, or what you get trapped into, is like, wait a second. If I get 2 bettas, it's only $5 for each extra, right? So that's $10, and the shipping fee will be the same. So you're like, 2 $20 bettas. So I get 2 bettas for $90 instead of 1 for $70? Ooh. So some people are asking, can you do local pickup? That usually you're going to find that in the seller's details. So maybe you're not looking for bettas. Maybe you're looking for something else. Let's say African cichlids. We're going to look at peacocks. Why not? So you can look at, let's say, Cali cichlids. We're going to look at this person, right? And you can see their feedback. They've got 208 out of 210 good feedback. They're in Fresno, California. And then usually you can click on, is it just the seller? Usually there's an info page. I don't know if they have it, if this person has their info page. Let's see if we can find another user that has their info page. Let's try this guy or girl. There we go, the just me. When you see this, you can click on it, and usually you get a little more info here, about their fish room. So he's running 1,700 gallons. He's been in the hobby for 45 years. Let's see, shipping. I use ambient air when bagging. I use ammonia reducing pads. I shipped a dozen bristlenose to Guam using priority. He doesn't say. So you'd have to email him and go, hey, can I pick this up? I'm also in California. But if not, they will detail their charges usually. So here they say you can get these 6 peacocks. The shipping will be $20 in a well-insulated box. And, so these fish could be yours, in theory, for as cheap as probably about $50. So it could work out really well. Now, This person only has 186 reviews. There's people that are going to list that have no reviews. So you got to do your work. Oh, right here. So I forgot about this. There's this little PU symbol. So instead of a flag, you get pickup. That's pickup only. So if you were in Wesley Chapel, Florida, you can only pick up 17 Mabuna and peacock assorted cichlids. You don't get any pictures though, apparently. But I wager you could email them and ask some more details. They've got a 0 rating, that type of stuff. But there's tons of fish, you know, and there's fish merchandise. And, you know, one of the ones you can do internationally pretty easy is actually killifish. And so if you do just eggs, a lot of the eggs go worldwide, and you can see what's the adult fish. And you can see here you get 50 of these eggs, and it's going to cost you 10 euros, and the shipping is 7 to 9 euros. So if you're out of Europe, it's going to cost you 9. If you're in Europe, it costs you 7, right? So for 19 euros, which is probably about 30 bucks, like, I don't know the current conversion, you could get some really cool nothos. Keep in mind, these only live for about a year. Super bright and colorful, fun to breed, but very short-lived fish. Someone's asking, is this site worldwide? Yes, this site is worldwide. That's why I always recommend it in my videos. I don't make anything from if you buy from them or not. You know, if I'm trying to make money, I will tell you, go buy from Aquahuna. So Aquahuna is based in the United States. And what I like about Aquahuna, we buy from them wholesale, so you guys can see some of the fish being unboxed in our videos. I want to be very upfront. We make a commission every time you purchase from them. If you use the code Aquarium Co-op, all one word, you save 5% and we earn money. So know that all of this is bias, right? But I will show you that you can buy quite a few things, and their shipping is completely reasonable. Their shipping is $12.99, which I tell them you should raise your shipping. It costs you more than $12.99 to ship, but they're holding fast so far. And an 8-pack of Celestial Polydanios is amazing for $30, right? That's less than $5 each, right? But you got to ship them, and there's always the risk of shipping, and they're a wholesaler. So you'll want to use meds, and you're going to have to feed them a little more, and they're going to take a little more TLC than buying them from a store. You know, so if you want that extra work, buy online. If you want it to be super easy and they're available local, buy local. Aquahuna angers me. They won't ship in Washington. You're right. They won't. Because if they did, I wouldn't work with them. And neither would any other store in Washington. So, you know, it's in their best interest to not sell to people they're already selling to. So they could sell to Then X and get your $50, or they can sell to Aquarium Co-op and get $10,000 a month, right? And all the other stores. So it just doesn't make sense to them to do that. And they wouldn't get our promotion from it otherwise, right? We got to stay in business, and, you know, we do provide a service. We quarantine and all of that. And, yeah. So, you know, if you're unfortunate enough to live in Washington, you can't buy directly from Aquahuna. But you can buy from our retail store, which, you know, it's a trade-off system. You can always move away from Washington. Then you can order from Aquahuna all you want. But yes, lots of good stuff. Lots of reviews. You can see here. They wanted Galaxy Rasboras, and apparently they got Emerald Dwarf Rasboras. I would wager, and I don't know this person, I would wager they took care of that. September 13th would have been yesterday. Well, maybe they haven't taken care of it yet. But I do know that people have reached out, and well, I say most because I can't know every problem, but most problems have been remedied to what I've heard. Then again, they're not my company. I do recommend them. We do make a commission. But, you know, AquaBid's a good source too. Yeah. And that would be my big thing I would say is when I recommend something, we're not responsible for it. So if they send them the wrong address or anything like that, there's nothing we can do about it. That's another company. It's like me saying I love Snickers, then you get a Snickers that's stale. There's nothing I can do about it. Reach out to the company. That's their thing. But I can say we've been buying from them. I've been buying from them for over 10 years. Even before I owned my own store, I ordered from them before. And you're gonna see a video coming out down the road about Aquahuna, what their previous names were, how we got started in the hobby, and that kind of stuff. Just because I think it's a cool origin story on a hobbyist turn fish wholesaler. And but yeah, you know, one thing I want to chime in on here is you can buy bettas from them too. Now, they don't do the what you see is what you get. You'll learn that they're hoping to expand to that down the road. But right now, if you were to order a betta, you know, if you want a koi type pattern, pardon me, my voice, it'd be $20 plus $12.99 shipping. So for $33, you could get a male koi betta shipped to your door. You wouldn't get to pick it out though. But sometimes you can get some stuff that's hard to find, like females and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I just want to take you guys shopping a little bit. This is where I poke around. I really like the live bears. This is where I found like the blue eye live bears. You guys have been asking, where'd you get that? Well, I got it in the live bear section. And, you know, that's a wild type live bear. So I got it in the wild type. There's lots of different, like Birchman eye is a cool swordtail. It might not look it. You got to look at some other pictures maybe. You know, not every picture you're going to see is going to make something look flattering, but you can always Google it and go, does this look cooler? Let's see. What do I like? Lots of collection points. So if you want specific Endler collection points or guppy collection points. Ooh, Gardenius metallicus. This is also known as a black chin live bear. Let's see if it's a variant that I like. Nope, it's got the yellow gonopodium. I like it with the black chin. And it really looks good in an aquarium. But this is in the UK. They only shipped to the UK and Europe only, so I couldn't order it whether I liked it or not. A lot of live bear nerds in the UK though, and in Europe. All right. What else can we find that's super cool? I usually dig through all of these. Cracodon audax is a pretty cool. This is a goodied. I have pictures. Yeah, so even though it doesn't really look like a live bear, they don't get the typical live bear fins. They kind of have this like weird fin shape to them. They're a live bear with a much longer gestation period. So what does that mean? That means their fry come out at almost an inch big already, and they like much cooler waters. So that's just kind of it's a more advanced fish to keep. Zenotaka eiseni, which is also a goodied, easier fish to keep. This is a bad picture. They usually have more color, but easier to keep from the goodieds. Let's see if there's anything super new and cool. Scyphia francise is a rare type of goodied, also known as the black prince. This one isn't the black form. This is actually rarer than the black form, I feel like, because I usually see the black form of it. But yes, lots of wild type live bears when you're searching wild type. Who would have thought? But then you can go to domesticated. That's where I get a lot of my cool looking stuff, as I feel like. Someone was asking earlier, we put out an article about platies. You can usually find neon blue platies in here. Sorry, my voice is going for some reason. It must be the meetings or something. Well, air quality is pretty terrible around here too, with all the fires. Scarlet Endlers. You also get to learn, like I know Mo Betta, that guy spawns a lot of fish that I like. So I'll clue in and go, hey, Mo Betta's spawning some stuff. What does he got going on? And you'll learn after buying, because some of these people I've been buying from them over 10 years as a hobbyist. What's a Numidian platy? Never heard that. So this guy's either making something up. I don't know. To me, I'd be like, yeah, it's a mostly black bumblebee platy. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that gets made up. I'm going to call it this, Corey's Wagtails or whatever. I want to find something really cool, though, because usually you got to scan all these pages and you're going to find something like, that's the one. I need to own that. These are all international. And I'll grab some super chats here in a moment. I apologize for taking so long. We're starting to cool down, which means less people will be shipping in the United States. But yeah, I just can't. Jet black swordtails. Wow, those are pretty black. That's a good black swordtail. If you're looking for a black swordtail, are they in the United States? Yeah, coming out of New York. That's a pretty decent black swordtail. I will give it that. Sailfin King Leartail Sword. What does that mean? Wow. I gotta admit, like, that's a lot of crazy names on there, but that's a pretty big hyphen. It does have the leer tail. I wonder how much it's breeding true. Does he say? He does not say, but that's a unique looking fish. You don't see that in a store. All right, well, we're done shopping. You guys can shop on your own time, or maybe you're shopping while you're listening to this. All right. Sorry, I apologize. What circumstances adding a Zis filter makes sense? I think my goldfish might appreciate it. Test your water. If you have nitrites or ammonia building up, you need to add some filtration. If you don't, you don't. So it's that simple. Like, a lot of times we want to add some stuff. If you don't have a sponge filter or something like that going already, you might need to add some air anyway. But, you know, I try to be the least salesman I can while being truthful. So the reality is you probably don't need more filtration because aquariums are really efficient. But if you did, the Zis one would be a great one for goldfish. But without knowing more, I can't in good conscience be like, you should give me your $25 and buy one of those. If you had water parameters, if you knew you had low oxygen, it totally makes sense. If you know you just want a new gadget, you want that extra filter because you need some stability and some reassurance, sure. But outside of that, probably not. All right, let's chime in here. A bunch of new members, a bunch of super chats. I'm going to try to get caught up. So it's going to go quick, but I'm going to try. Let me scroll. All right. I'm cycling a tank for 2 weeks, and I bought some Aquarium beneficial bacteria balls to start the nitrogen cycle. Do you know if they actually work? I don't know. We were actually, Dean and I were talking about this. He bought some. He's been testing them. He thinks it worked. Oh, my dogs are here. He thinks it worked. In my testing, they haven't worked. When I bought, like Pond Guru made some, and I tested them when I first opened the store. Thank you very much. They never dissolved for me and didn't work, and they were those bacteria balls as well. So Dean says they did work, and I said, man, we should do some more testing because that I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm hesitant. I tested some before, a couple different types, and so yeah, it might. I don't know though. It seems weird that we like turbo start from Fritz. You need to keep it refrigerated and do all that kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, this gel could do it. Why wouldn't we all be using this gel if that was a thing? So I'm apprehensive but hopeful. All right, new members from Derek, Lynn, Dylan, Oil Slick. Dan says Anubias that grows below substrate. Well, all Anubias roots will grow into the substrate, but as a rhizome, that rhizome, if it gets buried, it's going to rot. So any of them can be planted in substrate, and the roots can go down there, but that rhizome, it will die off if it gets covered. So I hope that answers that for you. Would a room sump pump decrease the need for water changes? Let me process that. Would a room sump pump decrease the need for water changes? Would a room sump pump? I don't think so. Like, some pumps use, like, I have a sump pump on here to pump the water away. But I don't see how it would actually reduce nitrates outside of changing water. So in itself, no. What's a good stocking idea for a 10-gallon with sinking pea puffers or apistos? What do y'all think? How many pea puffers or apistos or what else? Leo, my answer to that is go watch. We have a whole series on 10-gallon stocking videos. We cover pea puffers. We cover apistos. And really, it's a taste thing. Like, do you want Mexican? Do you want Italian food? Do you want Indian food? Do you want American food? What do you want? You pick that, you go from there. Because it's really, you're going to want them all eventually. How does the retail store track live inventory? Does each species have a point of sale entry? Do you ever count fish and track deaths? Each one does have a point of sale entry. Do we count and track deaths? Not really. We used to. We'll track if there's like something out of the ordinary, but in general, we have so much stuff coming and going. Anytime I've done time study trials, it costs more to count fish than it does to just buy more fish. So if we bring in 1,000 fish and 980 of them live, I don't see the need in counting 980 fish. But if we bring in 1,000 fish and only like 500 are living, we need to spend the time to just fix the fact that they died. So it's not the money I'm after or anything like that, but it's like, well, what's going on here? This is not right. What is the least number of tanks? Oh, I just realized I have a funny mug. I'm sure my wife calculated and got this mug. I think Jimmy got this mug for my sister-in-law, actually, at my house. What is the least number of tanks you would recommend having before you set up a linear air piston pump? I have 3 40s, 7 20 longs, a few smaller tanks. Right now, it's a ragtag mix of air pumps. I'd say you're in that zone. You can always bleed off extra air. So you could have one extra air line that maybe runs into a wrapped up towel to just let extra air come out of there. You have to add up. I mean, really what you're doing is you're looking at 2 things. Reliability of the air pump, which a linear air piston air pump will run like forever. And I've actually never heard of one needing to be serviced ever. But it was, I'm not even sure it needed to. I think the person wanted it to be serviced. But that being said, versus how many watts. So the LPH 45 uses 45 watts. Your air pumps might only add up to 20 watts. But maybe you want that extra to expand. Maybe you want that reliability and you want to have more pressure. So it's a question you got to answer that way. But you're in the realm of, yeah, you probably could start doing one if you wanted to. It's a big investment up front, but that will carry you through your hobby for a very long time. And if you go to a room where you have 100 tanks, well, then you just run 2 or 3 air pumps. And so it's something that you invest in once and usually will never get rid of. Jake 2.0 has joined the team. Phew! I was scared we were going to get version 1.0 and it's going to lead us down a tangent. How big of a role does temperature play in the ratio of male-female guppy fry? From all the studies that I've read, I don't think anyone has actually quantified that it makes a difference. There's been some studies with crebensis and some opistos where there are some signs that it might have an impact, but on guppies, I don't believe I've read a study yet that has actually proven or disproven it. So, that doesn't mean it's not. It just means that a professional study hasn't been done. I haven't noticed it. I definitely have had some strains that seem to be male heavy, but usually what comes down to me is, am I already male or female heavy in a tank? If I'm male heavy, a lot of times they're got smaller tails from the type of guppies I breed, and they're not as fat as the females, so they're faster to chase down fry. And then female guppies tend to be bigger, so they get bigger faster than a male does, and then they get too big to be eaten. So sometimes it's a natural predatory thing that's causing your skewed results. Daryl Dimer, one of the longest supporting members. Thank you very much, Daryl. I know you support a lot of YouTubers out there, and I hope your puppies are doing well. Do you think you could keep dwarf honey gouramis and an angel together in a 29? Probably. I bet I could. You probably could too. Wild Siren joining the team. Thank you. Fish Tank Barn, who's a brand ambassador, give me $5 to buy more rare libraries. I can't buy anything. I found a couple of things I want to bring home, and I can't because we're moving. Oh man, out of the corner of my eye, I just saw red cauliflower swordtails. I might have to show you these guys if they got a good picture. Their picture's bad. I won't show you. What do you think of 150 neons, 120 rasboras, and 1,500 gouramis in a 250-gallon tank? Would you change another eye catcher or chance another eye catcher? For me personally, I would only do neons and then the honey gouramis. I think you're going to get a bad schooling mixed behavior out of mixing the 2 schooling fish and not get the effect you're looking for from what I've done in the past. Like change one of those schools to a corridor at the bottom, you probably get your desired effect. That'll look really cool. One of the things that I want to do, and I've yet to do, but someday I will, a very big school of corridors. I'm talking a few hundred, because when they school around an aquarium, they look super cool, but I always have something that prevents me from doing that, like Ladybird when she goes in there. And yes, by the way, the aquarium looks a little cloudy. It's got green water. Because I haven't done anything with it, and the light's been turned up for live streams, it's turning green. So I either got to put a UV sterilizer on it, or I'm probably just going to let it get more and more green until I move. Let's see. Hard Deep became a member. Thank you. Ooh, Twin City Guppies. Thanks for being awesome. We always appreciate your knowledge and insight. Kang and Sai. Well, congratulations. They're having a baby, a new baby soon, so congrats to them. And without realizing it, if you're looking for guppies, I do buy guppies from Kang Lee quite often. Let me show you the website, shall I? Because it's another place. We were talking about buying fish. I do buy fish there. So if we click on our website, we go down here. You can save 5% if you use our code there. But on the Twin City Guppies website, you can get some guppies that even I have. Let's see, what do I have? I have, we sold out of a bunch, but he just got a new shipment in. I have the Dumbo, or I guess they're at Dean's now, the Dumbo Santa, and what else does he have here that I have from him? That might be it. But he does bring in nice guppies. I've gotten 3 or 4 different strains from him. I'd be tempted to really look into these, the golds. That's a nice color. It's something you don't see every day. And what I like about Kang Lee's guppies is these are actually in his aquariums. This isn't doctored up, because I know he doesn't have the skills to doctor up the photo. These are the females you're going to get. And I know, ooh, and he's doing videos now? Way to step up your game, Kang. So yeah, you can click here and you can actually see, you know, these real time, what you're going to get. And that's important, because a lot of people, like on AquaBid and that kind of stuff, they'll use their best photo and you might not be exactly getting that. So I know these sold out really fast last time. Everyone's like, oh man, you showed them off, then everyone bought them. The albino blue tails. Good looking fish. Oh, here we go. Whole species spotlight. There's Kang himself. Yeah, so I don't know. Home Hobbyists, they do import those. He brings in good guppies. I endorse him because he and his family are super cool. They've been to my house. I've been to their house. We've done videos with them. You can look on our channel. And, you know, technically I earn some kind of commission, but I've never collected on him because I just want to see him do great things. And so I know he's a family man and he's got a full-time job and he does this out of his love for fish, and his wife has gotten into it. It's super cool. Super nice family. I'd be there every day if they didn't have an army of kids. You know, it's just a tornado over there, but the kids are getting into it, and I always visit when I go out there. So if you're looking for guppies, I do recommend them. I have to disclose that technically someday I might get a commission. I'm not looking to make commission off that though. I purely recommend them off of just being good people, honestly. All right, side tangent done. Is there any foreseeable future for international merch shipping for those super fans that are willing to cover the costs? It is definitely of my list. So like I've got a bunch of lists. It depends on what team I'm working with that day, but Corey's own personal list for world domination, that is very high on my list. It's also a very hard tactic to pull off. So we might be able to pull off shipping to you, Sean, in South Africa, but we might not be able to ship to half the other countries. So we actually launched a whole new shipping software system today in our warehouse. Now that'll come with its own snags and speed bumps in there, but the goal is it integrates much better with international shipping. That's one step forward to actually making the step happen. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of insight, a change on that kind of a shipping system at our scale costs us about $30,000. It doesn't really do anything that we weren't already doing, except it allows us more capabilities going forward. So half of it is, why don't you just do it, Corey? We can't afford it. The other half is, we got to get the technology built in and make sure we don't stumble, you know? And so like right now, you know, we've got a lot of stuff. We custom build code and that kind of stuff. So like right now, we know this is how many things we've shipped today. 346 orders. We packed 2,933 items with 64 orders to go and another 579 items. Now, All of those orders are probably coming in the last few hours, so they are not actually due to ship until tomorrow, but we will keep packing until they get picked up. And what I know is I'm making sure that our system is 100% dialed in. And what does that mean? That means last time I was at the warehouse and I was looking at it, it had been 49 days since we had misshipped an item. So if every day we're shipping 3,000 items and it had been 49 days, that means we shipped like 150,000 items before we accidentally made a mistake. And so when you start shipping internationally, the costs become very, very costly when you do a misship. And so we got to make sure everything is really dialed in before we start doing that. So this is one of those steps to get us there. Now, in South Africa, does that mean we're going to ship from our warehouse to you? I don't know. Does that mean it might be Amazon shipping to you, a different person, or not person, but different third-party fulfillment? We're looking into it all. We really want to, you got to imagine you're a business. People want your products. All I want to do in the world is sell it to you. Like, that's why I'm trying to make products better. I try to do these things. So we're working on it, but I don't want to let you down. I don't want it to be like, well, got lost in the mail. Sorry you paid the extra shipping, but we can't help you. We need to devise a system that actually lets us help you. We need to make sure that all of our policies are up to date. We need to make sure we know the laws. We need to make sure our customer service is ready to handle it. We have enough customer service reps to actually make this stuff happen in a timely manner and fulfill your order and your customer service needs in a timely manner. So the answer is working on it. Nancy's Nano, welcome to the team. I think you joined the forum as well. I saw you, I think, make a post the other day or last night or something. Shelly Jocelyn, rubber lip and bristlenose pleco with goldfish. How do I feed the plecos without the goldfish eating all their food? Always worried they aren't eating enough. It's pretty difficult, honestly. What you could do is you could set up like a couple of rocks or something like that and use a piece of PVC pipe to drop like algae wafers or something in between the rocks where the goldfish can't get to, but the plecos can. The other option is to turn the lights off and feed them after dark. That sometimes will work, but goldfish are pretty good at rooting stuff out. And feeding a ton. That's the other answer. Like, oh, that sounds like a lot of water changes. Yep, it is. But you can also leave the lights on, maybe grow a bunch of extra algae, and they will eat a bunch of goldfish poop, so that they can get their protein from that and get a lot of the veggies from algae. How do you win the war on algae? First, I would recommend watching our Plants 101 algae guide. Depending on what algae is how you're going to fight it. So that's usually it's a balance between nutrients and light. I'm going to turn my AC on because you can see my face is getting more red. I'm drinking a hot drink for my throat, but now my body temperature is raising. So I apologize. The great thing is the new building that we'll be live streaming from, we're putting in, what do they call that? I guess AC, but it's not AC, just like whole house air? Furnace? I don't know. Whatever that thing is, it'll make a lot less noise than this and control the temperature. Jennifer joining, thank you very much. Josh Colvin asks, I got blackbeard algae taking over my tank. How do I get rid of it? And what do I do to treat my new plants to stop it from happening again? So yes, you can introduce algae. That's one way to get it. Another way is it's just going to crop up on its own. So usually algae outbreaks when it's convenient for it. You got too much nutrients, not enough nutrients, too much light, not enough light. Specifically for blackbeard algae, I like to use a lot of algae eaters like Amano shrimp, flagfish, Siamese algae eaters. You could start dosing some easy carbon. When you dose the easy carbon, that works to retard the algae a bit. And so let's say it took you 6 weeks to develop blackbeard algae, it might take you 10 weeks to get rid of it. It's a slow process. It's not a quick one if you want it to be balancing out long term. Now you can go in there and you can nuke it by, let's say you take the plants out and you spray them with hydrogen peroxide. Let that sit for 5 minutes. That'll usually kill off the blackbeard algae. That is one of the ways in which you could sterilize plants by spraying it in hydrogen peroxide. We find that so far I don't think I've found a plant that it actually harms. That being said, I'm sure there are plants, so be careful. But the good news is it kind of dissolves into oxygen and stuff when it goes into water. So you don't even really have to rinse it. You can just put it straight into a tank in our experience. That being said, be 10 more times cautious than I ever am because it's your tank, not mine, I'm giving advice to. Hillstream loach with a patch on its dorsal fin. Been TX maybe twice with the trio of meds for about 6 weeks individually, 1 week per med. No change. Is it normal? That doesn't sound normal. Without seeing the patch, does it look like it's red? Is it white? If it's white, it's usually more fungal, so that would lean towards ICX and erythromycin combo. You could also try some salt. So you've tried all those meds and they didn't work. You could try quarantining and doing like a tablespoon per 3 gallons. See if a long-term living in salt for like a month clears that up for you. But a lot of times, when stuff's not getting better, it could be water parameters, and it could also be nutrition or stress. So if there's a bunch of fish in there, it's getting stressed out. You know, imagine you had a big surgery. What do they tell you to do? They tell you to rest, right? They don't tell you, put yourself in a crazy, stressful situation and then hope things heal. They go, take it easy, eat really well, make sure you keep the wounds clean. And that's all stuff we need to do in our aquariums. But we think our aquariums are good, but we don't realize, like, oh, the goldfish is constantly chasing it, or the male reticulate hillstream loach is trying to breed with her nonstop. She's not getting to rest, or she's last to the food trough, not getting very much to eat, or the food I'm feeding's been expired for a while, or the package has been open for a few months. So we need to look at all these things and go, holistically, what is the approach we're taking to getting this animal to be better? Are we working on every front or just the med front? And so that whenever we find sick fish, the first thing we always say is clean their aquarium. Service the sponge filters, like if we're at the store. Service the sponge filters, do a gravel vac, test the water, look at all those things. Then make sure we use some meds. When they come out of the meds, feed them very high quality foods, usually only frozen stuff, and kind of just keep babying them until we see improvement. I wish we could clone you so we could have a school of 6 Coreys. Now, the human kind, not the fish kind. And she said, Celine says, here's $1 for each missing Corey. That's actually why I started doing videos, was because in a retail store, I could only help so many people, one-on-one, very personalized answers. But then when you notice, like, oh, everyone's got algae problems, I should make videos so I can say, hey, watch this video. And then if that doesn't answer your question, then I'll answer your question. And, I've covered, it feels like almost everything when it comes to fish keeping at this point, but it's not super easy to find. There's 1,000 videos out there. Some of it's locked away in live streams, some of it's locked away in tours. And so we just keep making more and more videos so that it keeps segmenting information out so that one day it'll be easier to find when you're Googling. That's, we do blog articles, we've got the forums, we've got the videos, a couple video channels actually, and we've got product descriptions, all that kind of stuff. And so our goal is just put more information out every day, and after a year, that's a lot of information. 2 years. We've been putting out information for 5 years now. That's where it's like, sometimes people say, no matter what I Google, you guys pop up. It's like, yeah, we've been working for that goal for 5 years straight to let's try to give you our opinion on the problem for most things. I want to say it's really fun to watch you guys click the like button. I appreciate that. I try not to ask for likes. It's just cool to see people reassuring and going, hey, I like what this guy is doing. 1,600 people watching. That's super humbling. And, I'll try my best every day. Benjamin says, 8:40 shout out to John at Katie Tropicals. Uh-oh, the Braves beat his Nats 8-4. Youch. I don't watch the old sports because I pretty much spend all my time with nature and computers, like just reading reports, meetings, and naturing. That's about the only way I can counteract it. Spend 8 hours or more doing work and then try to go decompress with fish nerd stuff. Guppy Guru, hobbyist fish are my go-to. I love supporting the hobby with others and buying fish. Just started our own new site. It's true. Our Fish Collective is their website. Timothy says, 120-gallon tank with koi waiting to go in a pond. I've treated with ICX for a few days. No change. Any suggestions? So 120-gallon tank's got koi in there, waiting to go in a pond. Treated with ICX, so I'm assuming it has ick. My suggestion would be, being that's a holding tank and all that, check water parameters, and then load up on salt. So a lot of salt. Koi can take lots and lots and lots of salt. So I would go, I would start with like 1 tablespoon per 2 gallons of water and let that sit for a couple weeks. I bet you that'll clear up most of what's going wrong with them. Could be, you know, it'll do fungus and stuff as well, though. So, what shrimp is the strongest? Like physically strong, probably whisker shrimp or prawns. If it's just like hardy fish, I would say a mono shrimp. Have I ever bred a dragon mosaic female to a black Moscow male? I haven't. Typically, I keep pure strains. I let other people do the developmental work because I don't have the time. It takes a long time to develop new stuff. So I don't do it very often at all. How to get back into the fish hobby. Been losing interest during the pandemic, and now I've got a total of 3 guppies and 220 gallons of water. Sounds like you're just burnt out. Might be time to shut the aquarium down for 6 months. You know, a lot of times for me, it was seeing a fish in person at a store, which is hard to do during a pandemic. You know, if you're not into those guppies, then get something else. But it's like anything. I find myself going through phases, and you know, if you've been at it for a long time, you might just need to not do it. You know, it's like anything. Eat your favorite food every day for a week, and you don't want it anymore. But don't eat it for 3 weeks, and now you're craving it, right? And so maybe you're just, you know, for all I know, and I don't know enough about the situation, but maybe you're still doing weekly water changes, and you're like, I'm not having fun about that. Or maybe I'm, you know, doing something else, or, you know, find what is it that you don't like. Are you not inspired? Do you need to do a whole different setup? Do you like doing equipment? Is it you're tired of the tank? Maybe you're like, I need to set up a whole new tank. This one looks old. I don't know. Maybe you need a challenge. Maybe you just need a break, though, too. You know, don't be afraid. A lot of people are like, what if I take a break? Like, that's not a bad thing, you know? If you played a sport for 10 years straight and then you take a year off and then you come back at it, no one goes, should have never taken a year off. You might, because you might miss it. But sometimes the best thing you can do is take a break. Figure out what you miss about the hobby. Get away from it, you know, and then go, I really miss doing X. So then when you set the tank back up, work on doing X, because you enjoy that part. Maybe you love water changes. I actually like gravel vacuuming. It's so satisfying to see how clean it gets. So I actually enjoy that. Okie doke. Anyone from Maine? The Last Fish exclusive store closed last week. That's a bummer. I'm sure there's some people from Maine. Check our website and you could look at the local fish club directory too. Might be a club for you. Will the co-op ever upload more Aquarium Co-op clips? We were in a meeting today with staff, and that was one of the topics of discussion. I would wager within the next couple of weeks, some videos will hit that channel. We're going to rebrand it. It used to be clips from live streams. Now I don't know what to call it. One of our things was like Aquarium Co-op Superfans, where it's like, you know, you're already watching 2 hours of live stream, you got a Sunday video and a Thursday video, and you can't get enough. Then there's even more over there. Maybe you're already a member and you still want more. There's some more stuff over there because we need to make a lot of product videos and all that other stuff. We don't want to clog up the main feed. If you don't want to watch a video on a brine shrimp hatcher or a egg tumbler or something like that, we don't want to clog up your feed, but we do want to put out the video, so we're going to do it on another channel. We don't know exactly what to call it yet. Maybe you guys will have some good ideas. You can put it in comments after the show. Jimmy reads every comment. I read every comment. Oh, that's not true. I read most comments now. I don't get every one of them anymore because there's a lot coming in. But, you know, maybe that's the idea we want to do, because we just want to find the right way to give you even more, you know, and maybe that's what it is. Aquarium Co-op, even more. If you can't get enough, that's one way to get more. Will I ever sell fish online again? I don't anticipate it. I just don't see that being a fulfilling thing for me. I'll help other people do it. I'll sell them fish. I would do that kind of stuff, but I like to get out of the customer service game. And what I mean by that is that's a very customer service intensive job, selling like that, fish online, and you end up being consumed by it all day long, every day, shipping going wrong, that kind of stuff, and that's high stress for me. And I don't enjoy being under that much stress of living animals being caught in the balance, right? And I take it very personal. Every bad review we get, everything like that, you know, I can dwell on it for days going, how did we let this person down? How did we, you know, and live animals are that kind of just tenfold. It's real stressful for me. So I don't enjoy it. And typically, I don't want to do things I don't enjoy. I really enjoy live streaming. I enjoy making videos. I enjoy helping improve on products. I enjoy all of these aspects of the hobby. But that stressful part of shipping fish and training people and helping them, it's just too much for me. So I don't think I could do it in addition to what I already do, and I don't want to give up what I already do. So what have I been drinking? I've been drinking some basically chicken broth. That's what I've been drinking. I don't really like tea. I wish I did. I don't drink coffee, and I found that this really helps open up, like the saltiness of it really opens up my throat. I don't know, clears the congestion or whatever's tickling my throat when I'm talking for many hours at a time. I found it to help when I'm at events and that kind of stuff. So I go with that. You know, you'd never think when you start a business of like, oh, someday I'm gonna have to treat my voice like a singer or something to make sure I'm not overusing it, make sure I'm, you know, keeping it practiced. I don't know. It takes a lot to actually do the live streams with meetings beforehand, and then maybe I gotta go film later and not be like, oh, my voice is literally crapping out on me. It's really annoying when that happens. And I've had it happen. You guys have seen me at some events where I might show up sick, and it's literally hard for my voice to be heard over a microphone. There's nothing more irritating than trying to get something across and not being able to do your job because of, you know, the plane or whatever is getting you sick on the way there. For me right now, you know, like there's articles on how we have the worst air quality in the world right now because of all the fires. I don't know if that's true. I'm not trying to win a contest on worst air in the world, but I will tell you, even if it's not the worst, it's not good. You know, it's smoky outside. That does get into our house. We're wearing, you know, some masks to try and help when we got to go outside and do things. But you just move on. You do what you got to do. Getting a lot of different answers about African dwarf frogs and shrimp together. Yes or no? Will the frogs just eat them? Whatever fits into a dwarf frog's mouth's gonna go there. So if you get some big old ghost shrimp or some big fatty Amano shrimp, you're probably okay. You get some little red ones, they might be snacks. All right. How are we doing on memberships? I've been so tickled lately to watch memberships go up even on days where I'm not live. I feel weird because I hate the fact that there's like money tied to it, but it's like a vanity metric for me of like someone willing to chip in $5 is like, it's like the ultimate, it's like getting a tip. If you ever worked a job where you got a tip, which, have I ever worked a job where I got tips? I've gotten a tip, I think 3 times ever between my fish store and the fish store before. I don't think I've ever worked a job where I got tips, but to me, it's mind blowing when I would sell someone fish and they're like, you did such a good job, here's $5. Like, it just, and that's what I view membership as. Like, I'm doing such a good job that you guys are willing to like give a tip and help fund what we're doing. And what I always feel guilty, right? So I try and go, how are we gonna spend this money? Let's give away packages on the forum. Let's give away packages to viewers. Let's do these things. But I do like the vanity metric of like, all right, more people. And I know lots of you guys are into it. Like, there's obviously tons of fans. But for some reason, it's easier to keep track of a number of like, all right, we hit 1,700 as opposed to 485,000, you know, like that. It seems different to me. You know, and it's a different thing. Like, trust me, I want you guys all to buy all of our stuff. That's amazing too, and I hope you do. But I get it when it comes off as a sales pitch. Like, don't get me wrong. If you guys don't buy stuff, we go out of business, and that's terrible. So I just kind of do my soft pitch of, hey, please buy from us when you can. Hope it works out. And, you know, if I ever get into a dire strait, like right now we're spending too much money building new stuff and developing new products, and money's flying out the door in an uncertain time. But my faith is with you guys. You'll keep buying from us, and it'll work out, I hope. Like, that's the hope. Keep doing it, right? And so as long as it keeps working, I'll try to keep it to a low roar of like, hey, please buy from us. But yeah, I want to check out the members. Ooh, we're three away from hitting 1,700. That's, you know, that's a big number. That's another feather in the cap when I'm negotiating with YouTube going, hey, fix this guy's problem. Hey, do this, do that. Listen to me, you know, because of you guys and the membership stuff. And it is the membership stuff. Because we did well, I got to speak at VidCon and then another creator thing. That let me learn new things. There's going to be a new thing I'm going to start doing because I got into the beta program. So because you guys do that, I also get to do stuff that lets me give back to you guys more. That's my goal. So it does help, and I appreciate it. Let me get back into the normal chat. And welcome Michael Brown and Alexandre? One of those is probably correct. Mom Gone Domestic, Freakerbee, the speaker, and Stephanie Dominguez stepping it up. I think that does it. 17 hundo. Let's hit the refresh button. 1701, 1702 with Drake. I love it. I love it a lot. Someday I'm going to use this to browbeat Fluval or something. We'll use this for good evil, as I call it. You know, that's what I do with companies. I do good evil. Like, let me strong arm you into doing a better job. All right, living high right now. Thought I was already a member, but I've been paying YouTube $4.99. Wait, great information. Thought I was already a member, but I have been paying YouTube $4.99 a month for the past couple months. Huh. Well, I hope that wasn't going wasted. I don't know why, but I'm glad to see your sign up now, Jason. A super chat from Jess. Thank you very much. Would I ever sell realistic rubber decorations? I doubt rubber. You know, like the next thing would be like silicone maybe. I'm real hesitant to do fake decorations. Like there is one coming, but in general I want aquariums to be as natural as possible. And because I think live plants help. That's why. And I guess part of it is I made a decision early in my career to not just sell what people will buy. There's a lot of money to be made in fake plants, fake decorations. You know, that castle or that pirate ship you buy for $30, you literally can get made in China for like $2, and the paints are going to chip off, and it's not a long-term item, and it's predatory on the hobby, and it doesn't help you actually keep the fish healthy long-term. And so I've been very hesitant to sell very many fake decor products. Yeah, we've got our membership sign. We've got this next thing coming, but very slow and steady, and something that I actually think needs to be. We don't necessarily need another pirate ship. We don't necessarily need another castle. I'm not sure we need another fake plant. But there are some things I think, I think we do need that. And some of the fake ones I do sell, like the shrimp hides, there wasn't a lot of those. Episto caves, you know, coconut huts, like those are in between the line, right? But I try to focus on live plants because I think live planted aquariums, that's my jam. I really like it. So, how hard of water do I keep my moo-moo puffers in? Usually it's like 200 to 300 parts per million. It gets harder over time. The more shells that are in the water. We do a lot of water changes. Like I'm about to keep it in very hard water when I move Ladybird to the new home. So it'll be a new experience for me, as in it'll be even harder. So I've only ever kept them in pretty soft waters with a lot of shell content to make the water hard. I'm interested to see how it goes with, you know, maybe I gotta feed even more clams because more calcium water, more teeth growing. I don't know. There's always unintended consequences. 20 silver tip tetras, 6 Julie Cories, 10 Amano shrimp, and 3 female powder blue gouramis and 29. Yeah, that probably would work, I would bet. Are there any for sure indicators that a female guppy will give birth? I don't think there's anything for sure. Big, squared off belly, giving it at least 30 days. But in general, usually, unless there's a lot of stress, guppies will give birth about every 30 to 35 days. A lot of times the babies can be eaten, or sometimes they can, just get sucked up by a filter. So make sure you got a pre-filter sponge and all that kind of stuff going on. I was thinking, like, should I go grab my eggs? The reason I was thinking about that is I I found some more turtle eggs, so I pulled them out. I actually ordered a reptile egg incubator. So the new studio, I want to have like an actual incubator and teach you guys more about hatching some turtle eggs and stuff. Not that I'm a reptile channel, but you know, if you've been around for 5 years, you know, the first 2 or 3 years, like, oh man, yeah, Corey's making turtles. And over the past 2, it's just been it keeps getting put off of like, okay, let's build a new aquarium. Oh, I need to build a new lay box. Oh, I need to do the next thing. I need to do, and then like, oh, I don't have room for the baby grow out. Okay, I won't pull the eggs this time. And I miss doing it. So that might be a good case of burned out and making too many turtles. Now I'm not burned out, want to make some more baby turtles. Plus I gave some to Steam Fought Aquatics, so now I've got some room to grow some more out. Yeah, but if you're into that, that might be a video that goes on the second channel of like, hey, Corey's talking turtles. He is not a turtle master by any means, but, you know, he's doing some stuff. You learn from what he does. Here Fishy says, we're buying a new house. My husband doesn't get fish. I'm asking for a membership for my 40th birthday. Well, happy birthday preemptively. I really can't wait until YouTube gives us a way to give away subscriptions. Like, I would love to find a way, you know, like, oh, we're giving away 5 every live stream or something. I don't know what we could do, but I keep asking for that capability because I don't want it to be, you know, oh, I can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. Like, that sucks. Like, I don't know. I want to find a way around it. So, that works for everyone and is easy. All right, a few more things came through. All right, if I put cycled media inside an aquarium, can it hold the cycle just fine, or will bacteria die without a constant flow of water flow of the canister? I don't know, because I haven't done a scientific study. In my experience, taking out biological material and throwing it into another aquarium and walking away, and then taking it back out and putting it into a different aquarium to cycle it pretty quickly has always worked out pretty darn well for me. I haven't had problems. I would say what has happened for me, that works that way. Officially, someone's probably done some testing out there, got better experience than I do, but a paper and my experience don't always line up either, so I don't know. And Jordan with the $2, how many shrimp could you take in a fight? Probably not very many. I get real squeamish when shrimp, prawns, and crayfish grab onto me, or even like Singapore shrimp. Like when you're catching them with a net in the store, and then all those arms grab you, it feels weird, and I get creeped out. So not very many, because they remind me of like spider legs. They're a little creepy. I mean, I love to watch them, but feeling them, you know, when you're picking up crayfish in the wild or something, it's kind of like, yeah. So probably not very many. They're little, it's like holding bugs. They're just kind of like, hey. You know, I'm not looking to do too many. All right. Okay, how cold can crystal shrimp go? I would prefer not to use a heater, and the room can get as low as 65. So all I can tell you is I ran my crystal shrimp when I was breeding them in a 40-gallon tank that was about 4 inches off the ground. And I didn't heat them. I think I kept the door closed, so it probably stayed around 68 to 70 in there, and they bred up a storm for me. Now, I know a lot of crystal shrimp are from the wild in China, and they get pretty cold. I don't know, has their tolerance changed from being highly bred to be that color? That being said, here's what I would do personally. I would probably set up a sister tank, heat one of them, let the temperature go down on another. If they're breeding and a month or 2 later they're doing great, I would remove the heater from the other one, and then I would be the cold water crystal shrimp expert. But until I do that, I can only give you my advice, and that it worked fine for me not being heated, but I also don't want to see you lose your only 200 crystal shrimp colony and cost you a few $100s and be like, Corey, he's such a bully, he's such an idiot, he does all the wrong things, gives out the bad advice. I can only tell you what I've done, and maybe there's something miracle going on in my setup I didn't know that kept me from having a big die-off. But 65 sounds reasonable, honestly. Most things, like I know shrimp will get down to 65 in shipping, but long term, what does that mean, right? Probably slows down your production a little bit. I'm okay with that during the winter myself. Tim Carter, Jay Donahue, and Mark Zona joining the team. Thank you very much. I love it. I love it a lot. I'm going to hit the refresh button just so I can see how high we go. 1705, I like it. I have a tank with chili rasboras, blue dwarf shrimp. Any thoughts on a nice centerpiece fish? So, a small fish, small shrimp. It doesn't have to be a big fish, just something nice and maybe flashy. I love me some nanofish. What's got a small enough mouth, looks cool, flashy just enough. I really like adding like a few male tiger endlers, like 2 or 3. They could, harass a shrimp a little bit, but they look really nice. And if you put just one, they might get a little bored, so maybe a couple might help you. What's up, Corey? Saying hello from New York City. Just love the variety of surprise stickers with my orders. Keep them coming. Yep, if you guys place orders with us, random stickers get inserted. We don't guarantee that every package gets one, but most do. And we're continually adding stickers to our lineup just to keep it fresh, and people like to collect them, so we thought it's fun. We developed that idea a long time ago. We're working on it even more, and yeah. What's the strangest place I found a fish? It has to be just somewhere in the wild where I really wouldn't have thought like a puddle or something. It's always weird to see fish in the gutters of a fish farm, because you see a fish, you're like, that fish is worth like $100, but it lives in an area that like no one can get to. Of like it's a raceway between 2 ponds or something, and you would never catch it in a million years. Other than that, I'm not sure. The strangest place, like my wife can attest to this, duckweed and stuff like that has come out of my pockets after going through the dryer, those types of things. Definitely have had rubber bands, all kinds of fish paraphernalia have gone through our washer and dryer. My wife will attest to that. Lots of, because you're just doing a thing and you're like, oh, let me stick that in my pocket. I want to forget that. You forget it all the way into your dryer by the time you're done. If Dorcula was an animal, what would she be? Oh man, I'm pretty sure this question can only get me in trouble, and thus I love it. Because either I got to do something crazy sappy, like think of the most majestic animal out there, or anything less than that is just going to get me in the doghouse. What is something that is flattering and yet hilarious? That's a hard... I don't typically go, what animal is my wife most like? It's got to be something that's like always happy and super outgoing to like anyone. It's got to be like a service animal. Like my wife is naturally wanting to help people and make people feel better. So I want to say something hilarious, like she's a therapy mini pony. Like who doesn't love to see a miniature pony in like a hospital with people that don't feel very well? Like that's a good time. Oh man. Yep, she's waiting there. Yep. Oh man. What are my thoughts on convict cichlids? Super cool, underappreciated fish, very easy to breed most times, and if you keep them in large aquariums where they don't beat on each other, their finnage is actually really, really cool. But because they breed so easy, they get labeled as like, convict cichlids, they're not cool. But honestly, they're some of my favorite fish I've ever kept and bred long term. Easy to overpopulate, but yeah, they're cool fish, especially like the marbled and the pink convicts, all those little variants. All right. Other day I bought 2 Hilstone loaches along with some other fish. Everything is fine, but those ended up dying in under a day. Water was tested for great for weeks. I'm thinking stress? Could be. A lot of times they may not get fed enough in the aquarium where they're at before you bought them. And then, did you watch them getting caught? Like, as much as I love the fish store employees as the next person, there are some stores where you're like, has that person ever caught a fish before? Because what they are doing is borderline like abuse. Like someone needs to teach them how to catch fish because this is not good. Like if you like, maybe if you're new to the hobby, have you ever seen it where, and I've done this once or twice in my own store, so I want to lead by example here, but there's nothing more heartbreaking than killing a fish while you go to catch it. And there are some people that are just, you know, ramming that net around and you're just watching the havoc. I've killed a couple of fish in my day too, catching lots of fish. But, you know, sometimes that could lead to something like that. What's the difference between General Cure and erythromycin? General Cure is meant to treat external and internal parasites, and the main ingredients are praziquantel and metronidazole, right? So those are basically antiparasitic deworming agents. Erythromycin is an antibiotic, so even humans use erythromycin. If I had a real bad cut on my hand, we might take some erythromycin, or if I had an infection, something like that, and it's meant to fight off bacteria. So those are the main differences, is just one's meant for parasites, one's meant for bacteria, two different types of organisms. We'll see if did I get in the doghouse? I don't see, my wife hasn't stormed in here angry yet, so I must be in the clear. What's the largest fish I would recommend for a 29-gallon tank? The largest for me is about 8 inches. Because you got 12 inches front to back. That might be like a very large blood parrot, a very large angelfish, maybe a geophagus, earth-eating cichlid for a few years at least. But anything much more than that, it starts getting to be like, hey, geez, that's a giant fish. Doesn't it need a bigger tank? And here's my test that I always, you know, so I know that I can change in limited amounts of water. But my litmus test, I guess, and this goes for like Murphy in his tank at the store and other questionable things. Like I know I could change water till the end of time and it will never be a water quality issue. My litmus test is, does someone who doesn't know fish, do they look in there and they go, ooh, that's a small tank? If they're saying that, that's when, and more than one person obviously, but if it like the majority is like, ooh, he needs a bigger tank or she needs a bigger tank, then that's where I would feel that. And I feel like about over 8 inches, the average person doesn't keep a fish tank and go, ooh, doesn't that guy need a bigger tank? That's when I feel guilty. Or the grandma tests, I've referred to it in videos before. Steve said they did have a hard time catching them. So that extra stress might have led to the demise of those hillstream loaches. It's not 100% though. You know, I don't want to vilify people, because sometimes it could be that like they're hard to catch. Let me first be clear of every employee at my store, myself included, like, oh, you want hillstream loaches? All right. I've had times where it took me over 30 minutes to get hillstreams. But it could mean that maybe they had intense meds, maybe they just shipped in the day before, maybe they weren't getting enough food, and then the added stress of having a hard time catching them was enough. And then going into new water parameters was enough to be like, they can't handle it. They're gone. Am I bringing back my auto feeders? I need some. Blake, you can message our website. We have some in stock. We'll give you a secret link. You have to know that if there's a defect, we'll take care of you on your next order, blah, blah, blah. Am I ever going to bring them back? I don't know. That company is not there. We can't identify what's exactly wrong. It looks like the first half or the first third of the shipment, we had more problems. And then like all the ones we're sending out now don't have problems, but I'm real gun shy. I'm just like, I don't want to bring them back on and be like, Corey, you talk so much trash about how they were having problems and all that kind of stuff. And then now I'm selling them, they go great, and then they have a problem again. Then I just look at Corey, he only cares about the money. And that's not true either. I really care about a reputation. I really care about how the product performs. That being said, I use quite a few of them, and I love them. And a lot of people I know, we use them, and we love them. But, I don't know. It's a hard decision for you to make. So I always side with, what have I got to gain? I got money. It's not worth my reputation. But I also want good auto feeders out there at an affordable price. Part of the problem is it's a $20 price point. It's a great price, and it's a good when that product works for $20, man, it is amazing. The alternative, I'm going to show you guys right now. I don't even make money off this. Sorry. I'm going to pull the alternative auto feeder that I use. What is it? Let me find it. And it's like $125, by the way. It's the one I've been using on the 800 gallon and some other applications. Why does it always have to be when you're trying to do something live with people, you can't find it? But if you needed to do it 10 minutes after this live stream, it'll pop up like 20 seconds later. I want to say the brand's like Dragon 1 or something. Ugh. Of course I can't find it. Of course. Next week I'll try to have that. I'll try to show you guys that. This product is awesome. Why can I not find it? Automatic fish feeder. It's Dragon something. I know it's Dragon in the name. Let me see if I just have one. I've got one. It's nice and dirty and crusty from feeding lots of fish food, but it's not Dragon, it's Super Feeder. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'll give you guys a link. Don't worry, I don't make any money off it or anything like that. Automatic fish feeder, Super Feeder. Right here. Oh, they're $156 with $10 shipping. Ugh. I think there's another variant that doesn't come with all of this, like a little bit less hardware. Oh yeah, this has got extra stuff on it. Hold on. This comes with a timer and everything. Let me find the right link for you guys. You don't need all that extra stuff. Because I use it with a Wi-Fi timer. By the way, our Wi-Fi timer should be here any day. There's this timer right here. I love them. I'll teach you all about them. I control them with my phone. Been using them for over a year. They're awesome. Here's one that comes with a timer. I know there's one without, but I'm going to put it right here. Put it in the chat. So that's the thing. Like, if you pay $125, this feeder is awesome. It's a pain in the butt to kind of program a little bit because you got to use this dial on the front, and it's a little crazy. And there's no, you can't just press a button and it feeds. You literally have to use it with a timer, and it'll feed once. Then it has to lose power for at least 60 seconds. And then if it turned back on, it could feed again. You calibrate how long it goes for. It actually has, this one needs to be cleaned because it got wet. This is the one that I put off to the side when all the archers were shooting it and filling it with water up the hole. But it's got a little wheel in there that can grind food. So that makes it so pellets don't get stuck. You can feed Vibrobites, all that kind of stuff will go right through. And it's actually a great feeder, as it should be for $125. Like that's the thing. So when I compare those two, and like, wait, you can get 6 of my feeder we developed for the same price. Doesn't hold as much food, but serves the same purpose. That's a big difference. So that's kind of where I fall on that. All right. Yeah, too rich for your blood. I get it. I mean, it's, you know, it really, it makes sense if you're breeding some fish, you're doing some things. I like that feeder a lot, but this was 5-6 years ago. Maybe we'll reach out again. I reached out to buy the company from the guy. Well, it would have been like year 1 I was open, because I was just like, it's way too expensive. This doesn't feel like it could be this expensive. But he wasn't interested in selling back then, and, you know, I don't know. Maybe I could reach out again, and we can figure out a way to, you know, if you look on there and you keep looking up Super Feeder, though, a lot of people use this thing to feed cats and dogs, and there's crazy setups and all of that. But I will say, I do love it. I love everything but the price. Whew. If I could make this thing like, if this was $50 or $60, it'd be real good. That's half the price, though. Will it grind it to a fine powder? It doesn't grind it. It's kind of like, you know, a music box where they've got the little tines and it'll like ting ting, you know, play the music, right? Well, imagine those tines are where like a piece of food was going to get stuck and not want to go through and hold food from going down. It then brings its little like plastic spoke and knocks it down. So I was really trying to make it do flake food. It doesn't do a good job of that. It won't grind it. It will get lots of different sizes of food, and I used to mix freeze-dried foods. It worked really well for a lot of things except for flake food. I couldn't get it to work well for that. But everything else, it's handled pretty darn well. All right. Let's just make sure we ban Opie Boy. Funny times. Any recommendation for Canadian stores? Like online stores? I don't, because I don't shop them. I have no idea who's good prices, who's good customer service. It's hard. You know, it's hard to like, what's a good place to eat in a state you've never been to? I don't know. It's kind of where I fall. Like Amazon, maybe. Like I've eaten at one of those chains before. I worry about food going stale in auto feeders. Do I? Well, you should only put as much as you're going to feed out pretty quickly, but I don't worry about that because I more worry like I have to refill my auto feeders like every week to 10 days. Like the tanks I put auto feeders on, I'm feeding them to grow fish fast. So they're feeding 4+ times a day. That's a lot of food. If I go on vacation, not that I go on vacation very often, but if I'm out of town for 3 to 7 days, I just don't feed fish. They're fine. So I don't use feeders for vacation. I use them for growing fish. Do killifish sell well, and would you buy from a local breeder? They tend to go in waves. So let's say you were breeding orange Australs, and you bring me 50 of them. That's probably going to saturate the market for about 3 to 6 months. And then I'd want to buy some more from you, but I would need them in pairs. People want to buy in pairs. They want to pay about $15 to $20 per pair. And you'd have to be set up so that we can bill you out as a 1099 or an independent contractor. You know, we have to actually have your payment details, cut you a check, all that kind of stuff. So do we buy? Yes. Do we have to treat it exactly like a business would? Yes. Do you need to have a business license and all the other stuff that goes along with that? Yes. That. Uh-oh, Candy's getting slammed for auto feeders. My bad. Maybe it'll just always be like a secret product. I don't know. It's, you know, ooh. We need to develop the Aquarium Co-op secret menu. Like maybe for members or something, we would just like always post the secret menu. I don't know. Safe guidance on collecting native fish in the U.S. legally. I think it goes by state, and even then there's like some Indian reservations and all that. It's going to get real specific to your locale. So I don't know that I can give you great advice on that without mucking it up. Oh, man. Preston Blake or Preston John. Why do I say Preston Blake? Dean is 400 in angelfish years. That's hilarious. First guppy fry ever. Mom had fin and mouth rot. Oof. Treated her with the duo. She is better. Babies are in a separate tank. Any tips now that they're 2 days old? Crush up flake food. You can feed Aquarium Co-op fry food. Mostly get some like Java moss or a little bit of live plant in there. Feed a little bit. I put a couple of snails in there to eat any leftover food. But guppies are easy to raise up because they typically eat what the adults would. And you're just trying to make sure they don't get eaten or get sucked into a filter. Those are the main culprits of fish not working out, is a predation from either the tank or the tank inhabitants. Can I explain the choice of Maricin over Maricin 2 in the med trio? Aren't gram-negative bacteria infections worse and more widespread than tropical fish? In my experience, Maricin 2 has never treated anything ever for me. So I go with practical advice. So when people go, doesn't science say this does a thing? And then I go, yeah, I replicated the test like 40 times and it never did what science said. And I did the other way and it always works. And then I go, yeah, that's why. So you could go like, aren't you worried about all that? Like if you really were, go with bifurin and nuke all your gram-positive and negative bacteria. And then you go, well, erythromycin, doesn't that also kill the bacteria that keeps your aquarium alive? And then you go, that's what science says, except in my aquarium, I've never had it happen. So I'm purely a salesman, a shop owner, a hobbyist that bases on experience. So I take studies, I read them, and then I go, let's see if that happens with me. Oh, it does. That study's correct. Oh, it doesn't happen for me. That doesn't mean the study's not correct. It means something about my aquariums is different. And when I do my aquariums, the store aquariums, my customers' aquariums, then we launched it online and people are getting the same experience. And so I don't know why erythromycin doesn't nuke the beneficial bacteria like it should or shouldn't, and why it treats stuff that it should or shouldn't. I just know it works. That's the end goal. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if the majority of aquarium bacteria, beneficial bacteria, is now resistant to erythromycin. I don't know if it's been that way for 50 years, 10 minutes, if it is killing it, but it replicates fast enough. I have no idea. Is it in a strength high enough? I don't know. All I know is that trio works amazing for insane amounts of people. And in my testing, is there probably a better concoction out there? Probably, but it cost me about $40,000 to develop this. And I'm not going to spend that kind of money to develop something on top of something I already know is working. So if we lose one of those meds, I'll be back to the drawing board. I would probably just go with salt, though. Salt is amazing and cheap and readily available for everyone in the world. I've been told to never turn your hobby into a job. What are your thoughts? Also, what is your opinion on feeding earthworms and using wild plants? Feeding earthworms, as long as you're not buying from a bait shop, it's A-okay. I don't really see a problem with that. Wild plants, you'll kill a lot of them changing temperature, but I don't really fear that also. You could bring in pests, sure, but I don't really fear that much. Turning your hobby into your job, what are my thoughts? Yeah, my personal opinion with my skill set, turning my hobby into my job has been very good in that this is what I do for a living, and it's a great job. It is no longer a great hobby, though. There's not a lot left to my hobby because everything I do, people get irritated if I don't film it. Why don't you show me? Why don't you tell me how to do that? Why don't you write an article? Why don't you? And the answer is because I don't want to. Like, I would love to enjoy it without having to go to work. You know, so imagine like Dean, for instance. Dean is a culinary chef and he teaches people. He doesn't cook that often. And when he does, when he cooks, he doesn't want to have to film an episode on how to make that food. He just wants to make it and eat it and move on. He still likes to eat food. It is his job, but he doesn't want to have to make a lesson plan on every time. Same thing. If I just want to do something, I don't want to have to make a lesson plan of, well, let me call up Jimmy. Here's the shots we're going to need. Let's make it an all-day event on something. Like, we're going to make a video on brine shrimp. It's something I've hatched probably thousands of times at this point. But the shooting of that video and trying to anticipate, how are people going to screw this up? What questions are they going to have? What are they going to think about this? You know, even when we shoot an unboxing, oh, they showed fish going into things. They don't quarantine their fish. It's like, now we got to explain why. So you end up spending a day of trying to think of what are all the problems that are going to happen, and then another day of filming for something that you spend 2 minutes of actually doing. So we're going to make a 15-minute video on how to do a 2-minute process that won't be fun. It won't be fun for me, 2 days of intense work, but it will be profitable, and it will be good for the hobby and all of those things. So if you want it to be a hobby, keep it a hobby. If you think you've got the prowess in business and can turn into something, then do that. But know that it won't be the same hobby it ever was. That it just always changes. I rarely see many fish owners even own an aquarium anymore. I have a spare 10-gallon tank. Was thinking about a Shelly tank on my desk. Is that an okay size? Yeah, for multis and similis and a pair of ocellatus, all of those would be just fine. Corey, in your new house, set up a secret fish room. I've tried that before. It always leaks. So I'll have a friend over, they'll see it, then they'll talk about it on a live stream, and then people go, what, you're holding back from us, and blah, blah, blah. Or that was the aquarium that was supposed to be in our living room. So it was a secret aquarium, and then like the Barbados were having babies, and then it was looking really cool, and this and that, and I wanted to show you guys because, you know, it's, I don't know, when you do something and it's really cool, and a lot of people like to see cool things, how do you not share it, knowing people are going to love seeing the eggs, love seeing the babies, love seeing this happen? You know, we made we spawned or replicated a Pontigetans in there. So all this cool stuff was happening, and it wasn't happening in some other aquariums. It's like, I want to show this, but I don't want them then to ask, what's the update? How's it looking? What's going on? And so I've just come to the fact that everything I ever do has to be able to be on video at some point, because it's gonna be there at some point. It'll be a teachable lesson. It'll something, and it's from me wanting to share too. If you make really good food, you probably want to share it with people, even though that's your job. You don't want to just keep yourself. If you invent a new recipe that's amazing, you want to share it with the world, right? And that's how I feel. So I just know I've tried it a couple times in the past. It doesn't work out. Long term, I want to share, and so I have to develop everything that way. What are some unique fish for a 20-gallon setup? I've done so many videos on that. It's hard to remember what's unique. Like, I really like apistogrammas. Some grammies are pretty cool. What else is unique? There's some rainbow fish, like pseudomogils, are pretty neat. But, depending on where you are in your hobby is what you're going to consider unique. We're closing in. 4:52. We're going to have to come up with a new word of the day for Bob's stream, because Bob's going live after us. I'm really enjoying seeing you guys go with me there. Of the 1,600 people we have here, we're getting him. I think he broke 500 last week, so another good time. I think today he's going to be talking all about good beginner plants, maybe? Let me check. Let me see what old Bobarino is going to be doing. Click my subscriptions button. Yeah, best beginning plants for new aquarium hobbyists. So we'll be talking about plants over there. We're going to think of a good thing to bomb him with. Secret to chocolate grammies. They're almost all wild caught. They like lower pH. Lots of frozen foods. They're a very reclusive fish. And we find when we first get them in, adding tannins to the water really helps. So, yeah. Cribs with a chill Nile puffer, so the Faka puffer, it could work. I've seen a lot of fish work with Faka puffers. I'll see them go on a killing spree. So don't put anything that you're afraid they might take as a snack. Whoa, we just got back from taking care of reptiles at the zoo. That's pretty interesting. I want to do more of that long term, like not filming or anything. I think it's really cool to interact with other animals. So one of my favorite things is learning about nature that I have known nothing about. So reptiles, any other animal, plants, like just seeing like that thing, that's nuts. That's crazy. Because the learning part of it is very alluring to me of like, I didn't know that thing did a thing. And so it's a little sad when you get to a point where you're like, it's rare to learn new things about fish outside of like crazy new fish you never seen before, but it's like, yeah, I did that. And it comes across as snooty, but actually it's a sad thing of like, oh man, I remember the first time I bred that fish, mind was blown, and you're almost chasing that high again of like, what can I do now that would be like, oh, what have I not done? There's some stuff I haven't done. I'm not saying I've done it all, but I do, it's very alluring to be like, I want to breed some reptiles again. I want to do garden plants. I want to, like my wife's having a ton of fun growing, potatoes, onions, tomatoes, kale, cabbages, cucumbers, zucchinis, pumpkins, all that kind of stuff. We're using fish water to do it, which you guys, did you see that? No, you haven't seen that video yet. You'll see how we do it using koi pond water and all that coming out, I think, in this Sunday's video. But that's very fun to go, oh, wow, like she's super proud because she had never grown until this year. She grew peppers, like chili peppers. And then in a different garden at the new house, they were actually growing like green peppers, which we kind of bought into that, so we didn't do that. But it was still like we harvested corn 2 days ago and that kind of stuff. And so it's fun just to see, a lot of you will get it if you haven't done that kind of stuff yet, but planting seeds and then taking it to something that can be eaten or whatever the success marker is. The flower looked beautiful, the thing was edible, it worked. When you know that half the time it's not going to work, it's almost better when you fail the year before and then you're successful the next year. That tastes twice as sweet. Same with a fish. I could never get it to spawn. When you finally do, after a year of struggling, it's twice as good as someone who bought the fish, it bred, and they were done with it. Breeding white sharks. Pretty sure I never did that. I haven't done any sharks. That's true. Is that true? That's true. No, I mean, I have looked into like keeping some tarpon sharks, which is a true freshwater shark, but I don't want to really make more of those. Is where are you going to rehome those to in like a sustainable way? I'm not going to go into super reptiles. I really keep myself away from tree frogs and a lot of stuff because I know I could get just as addicted to other reptiles, and I like to focus on aquarium related stuff and freshwater and plants. So tank behind you is for some tiger barbs and Peroon sharks and clown loaches. Peroon sharks are awesome. I used to do a lot of iridescent sharks, which is, they look just like Peroon sharks, except they don't have the same top fin. They're a little bit less aggressive too, in my opinion. But at the time, I could never afford Peroon sharks. They were always so expensive, and iridescent sharks were cheap, but they're pretty similar. I do think it's one of the hybrids is really cool when you cross a Peroon shark and a red-tailed catfish. Those things, it's like a mid-water swimming red-tailed cat, crazy, but get ginormous. All right. Hope everything's going well. Things are going fairly well for us. Outside of spending money very quickly trying to run this fish room, set up a new fish room, import products, implement new systems. Things are going pretty good. High stress level, not a lot of free time, but all things considered with COVID and all the stuff that's going on, we're blessed and we're doing quite well. You guys support us, and that's all I can ever ask for is being supported by your fans is amazing. And I'm happy. So much so I'm trying to get back to other other hobbyists, not hobbyists, well that too, but the word I'm looking for, if my brain ever catches up, would be influencers, other YouTubers, that kind of stuff. Hey Corey, hope all is well. Any advice if water being pushed through a sponge filter being pulled makes any difference? What I've found is typically when you pull it through with like a power head, usually that'll clog up. Even the coarse sponges over time will clog up. It's just there's a lot more force there, even on a small power head, than air. That being said, I find that when you pair it with a power head like that, you get a lot more mechanical filtration and less biological, because you're just like, you're pulling in, you're going to clear the water up a ton, but it clogs up faster, which limits your biological. Yeah, that sums it up pretty well, I think. Jay Oliver's Guppies and Aquatics. I love all you do for the aquarium hobby. You're the man. Keep it up. Well, thank you very much for the $5. I'll put that towards something useful. I appreciate it. We're going to head over to Steenfod Aquatics. Hopefully we're spamming that link out in the chat right now. I'll grab the link too. We're all going to grab it because we're all going over there. I'd love to set a new record, hopefully get over 600 or 700 today. Bob, what I like about Bob is one of the nicest people to hang out with in person. He's a genuine guy. He's just a dude. And he's very similar to me in that whether he has YouTube or not, he'd be keeping fish. Now, he might not be keeping as many aquariums, but that dude is always willing to go help someone else. He's willing to talk fish. He really enjoys it. He does lots of videos for his members and that kind of stuff that for sure don't make him any money. They take a lot of time and effort, and he's doing it for the right reasons. And, that's where you're starting to see like one of the best litmus tests, which I'm using that more than once today, which seems weird. It must be my word of the day, #litmus test. Is that Dean is willing to work with him. Dean is very, very selective with who he will work with. Dean has a lot of wisdom. He's got a lot of knowledge, and he doesn't want to associate himself and his brand or whatever you want to call it with something he doesn't believe in. He doesn't want to put his time and effort behind something that doesn't make the hobby better and all of that. And so the fact that Dean will work with Bob and has been on his channel and stuff is a huge testament to, you know, that I've made the right choice in having them both as brand ambassadors, but 2, that, you know, Bob and I and Dean and I have been friends for like 5 years now, and you know, it's been good. I've been watching both of them grow. They watch me grow. We know that off camera and everything, we know who we are. We know we're true people. We know we're not different people on and off the camera. You know, about the biggest difference you'll see is off camera, I do swear. Not a ton, but I do swear. On camera, I don't. And most people are like that because I don't know if there's kids in the room. I don't know if you're at the office or something like that, and I get nothing from swearing here. But you know, being truthful and real with other people is really nice, just to know that they're the same way. And so, you know, I really do like Bob. I like hanging out with him. I plan on hanging out with him more. I like supporting him because I can actually sit and listen while I'm eating dinner and enjoy what he's doing. And I'm hoping you guys will get that too. You guys probably notice I don't make that recommendation lightly. There's a lot of people that approach us every day. How do I get a shout out? How do I do this? How do I do that? And the biggest thing, if you're a new and upcomer, is, you know, I tell everyone this: don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're doing. After a few months, if you're making great content, I have to share it with people because you're doing amazing things. Don't tell me how you're going to do a super cool video. Don't tell me how you're going to buy my products and you'll get me a ton of sales. I don't care about that. I care about, are you putting in tons of effort? There's a bunch of creators we recommend that are very small. They're putting their hearts in it. They're doing it for the right reason. Then there's other creators who would love to be a part of it, but like they're only doing it for the views and the paycheck and all of that. And that's not what we're really behind. Everyone's got to make money, but I like the people's hearts in the right place, their minds in the right place. And I know that every time I send you guys to go watch someone that I like, you view that upon me. If I give a bad recommendation, you go, what is this guy? This guy must have sold out, must be getting paid, must be something going on. And it's not. I generally try to only ever share stuff that I genuinely have. Well, 1, I actually have to watch it, and 2, I enjoyed it. So yeah, a lot of times, do I get more out of an unboxing of Aquarium Co-op stuff than you guys might? Probably. Do I actually watch it though? Do I enjoy it? Yes, of course. Watching someone unbox and be appreciative towards my company is humbling. I enjoy that. I share it because a lot of times we're talking about our products and you can gain some stuff too. Can us new YouTubers mention you in our videos? Yes. I mean, yes. You can. You don't have to ask permission. You can always mention other people. You know, and as you do better, like I want to make sure it's not like you buy stuff and then you're like, you didn't share my stuff. That's not what it's about either. It's about, it's about just doing good stuff. If you're out there making really good content and promoting the hobby, eventually people are going to notice what you're doing, you know. And so even though I've never met MD Fish Tanks, I've watched some of his videos. I see what he's doing. He's, great at aquascaping, and he's, I think his heart's in the right place. And everyone's got to find their own path. And so I have no problems going, you should check that guy out. He's pretty cool. I'm not officially endorsing him because I don't know him personally, but a lot of these other people I do. And, some of these people that you'll see become brand ambassadors, like the Turtle Girl is going to become one. We've done videos, and she's been a customer for 5+ years. And I've watched her growing up from being 12 to like probably 17 or 18 now. Same with Flynn's Fish Forum. And so these are very long-term friends and acquaintances. And Bob is that. Bob has been around, what I do value it. I like that. Loop and Poop, Hoopy Oops. I love your avatar because it's a Chihuahua, so that's super cool. But Bob, what I like about a lot of the people I hang out with, Bob and Dean were super fish nerd buds with me back before YouTube was really a big thing or anything like that. And now they still are super fish nerd buds with me. And we still just nerd out and talk about fish. And it's not, where some creators, it's all talking about how do we maximize revenue and all that. And it's like, I try to maximize business. There's no doubt there. I do maximize my business. But when it comes to the actual channel, the channel is, as long as we're not losing too much money, we can pay for salaries, for Jimmy and other people that are working on the channel. We can afford to give back, and we can do the projects we want to do. We can travel the world. That's fine. Even though we make quite a bit of money from the memberships and the ad revenue and all of that, that's not the primary goal. The primary goal is you guys buy our stuff. We spend all that money on content. And something I've been meaning to tell you guys that I forgot, I was supposed to be in today's live stream and every live stream really, is that because the membership has stepped up and that kind of stuff, we no longer serve any ads in the middle of videos. So you guys hopefully have noticed that there's the one ad that plays before the video starts, and then there's no more ads after that. And it's because people are supporting us by paying $5. We don't need to put that and break up the content. So it's making the content better if you're a member. It's making the content better if you're not. Everyone, maybe it's someone who's got their new first fish tank and they're looking for ideas for a 10-gallon. They'll only ever watch one video. From now on, they wouldn't have more. Now, all the old videos, we are not going back and removing the ads because it's a ton of work, but videos going forward, we're making it so it is more enjoyable for everyone, and we're crowdsourcing it. So, yeah, let's head over to Bob. I can see he's live. I'm kind of watching him over here right now. He's got about 138 people. I would love to take a good handful of us over there and hopefully get them to like 700 or more. We're going to use the hashtag. Ooh, what are we going to use? We're going to use hashtag litmus test. I got to spell it out. I think that's how you do it. Hashtag litmus test. He won't, well, he was in here. He might know what's going on. I believe I get to have tacos tonight. Let's see, is there more members only content coming out? There might be. If you want to see a new sneak peek at the new studio and that kind of stuff in the raw, check out being a member. Make sure you check out the forum. That's free for everyone. And we'll keep making videos and we'll keep pushing forward. I'll see you guys next Monday. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Now let's go show Bob some love and have a good time. And thank you to Mr. Ed for a shout out. And I appreciate it. So you're all over the channel and the forum. Fishy Santa. Well, I try to give back where I can. Now let's go give back to Bob. He's a good dude, and I think he deserves it, honestly. So we'll see you over there. Hashtag litmus test. And let me grab the link and put it in there one more time just because I want to make sure you guys make it over with me and not struggle to find it if you've never been there. Did I close the chat? Oh, no. No, it's right there. All right, I'll see you over there. Have a great night. I'll be chatting and eating tacos. We'll see you later. If I find the right buttons, why do I close the wrong channels? It's always something. You're just hearing me tab endlessly because I can't find it. There it is. Phew. Bye-bye.